Right now, there's so much lies, and we're living lies. Sometimes, even when you speak the truth, people, they're not interested in the truth. People, they don't pay attention to the truth. They don't want to hear it. But what is truth? What is truth? Is truth, is it what you read from the books? For example, if you want to know about Africa, is it what you read on the book? Things that different people, they write, right? Their opinion about Africa? Or is it something that somebody tells you about yourself, that this is the truth? This is who you are. For me, at least for me, the truth for me is that still small voice inside of me. Like when the whole world is telling you that this is impossible, achieving one Africa in our generation is impossible. We have been struggling for that for like 60 years and we still don't have unity in Africa. It is impossible. There's still small voice inside of me that tells me that it's possible to achieve that. When the world is telling you that, you know what, you cannot do this. I mean, you're African, you cannot make it, especially outside of Africa, because you're black, you cannot make it. There's still small voice inside of me that is telling me that you can do. That is truth for me. And each one of us, we have that instinct inside of us. Regardless of what the world tells you, regardless of what has been written in the books, because everything you see is opinion of people. They did their own research, they discovered some stuff and they wrote it. That means you can find your own truth as well. And it's inside of us, that voice. And if you never heard that voice, then I think you can do whatever you want to do, whether it's meditation, whether it's research, whether it's going to school, and find the truth at the end of the day, because the truth will be there. The world we're living in today and the system of this world, it was never created for black people or for Africans. This system, as they were creating it, like Africa, you and me, we were outside of the picture. That's why today, you African, you can go anywhere around the world and still feel like it's not your home, still feel like you're isolated, exploited, you're not belonging there because it's not your system. Our ancestors, when they were taken a long time ago during slavery and brought there, they were brought there not to have a good life. No, they were brought there to work for white men, to develop them. Today, you have a lot of countries out there that are developed because of the blood, sweat, and tears of a black man. That's how it was created. So it's true, today we're fighting for the rights outside of Africa, but I'm afraid that we might not be able to see that. And I'm being optimistic when I say this, because unless that system change, we cannot see that change, because it was never created for you at the first place. But sadly, not only outside of Africa, when you come inside of Africa, we are still struggling with the same system. And today I'm going to share with you some of the lies that we have believed for so long time about Africa and about ourselves. But it's all about the propaganda of changing the narratives and the beliefs about Africa so that we may never succeed. And I'm not going to point fingers at anyone. In fact, I always point fingers at us as Africans. The lie began from the very beginning of time, right? And I can ask you one question right now. What does history tell you about Africa? Who discovered Africa? If you write right now on Google, who discovered Africa, you find out that is one white man that he came and discovered Africa. And you can ask yourself that how can you discover a place that already exists? How can you discover a place that people already live in that place? It is impossible, but that's what the history tells us. That's what people believe about Africa, that it was discovered by a white man. This guy, he came and then he went back, he gave a report. And then the next we know is colonialism, because those guys, they sat somewhere to divide Africa like a piece of cake because they discovered it, they own it, it belonged to them. But that is us. We discovered, we're the first people to know. And today you have a lot of people around the world that they think that Africa was discovered by them. So they divided us, right? Divide the continent and give each other some pieces. When you go to Angola, Angola was part of Congo Kingdom, guys. It was not even called Angola, it was Angola. Angola, it means the kingdom. That's the meaning of Angola. Even the capital city of Angola, they say it's Luanda right now, but it used to be called Luanda. But you know, those white men, when they came, again, guys, I'm not anti-West. Don't get me wrong. But again, when those colonizers came, what they did, this is what they say. They say, if you read in the history, they'll tell you that they were not able to pronounce Ngola. It is impossible. Like, you are smart, you study, you're civilized, that's how you see yourself, and you cannot pronounce the word Ngola. So it changed to Angola. Luanda, it changed to Luanda. And so many other different places. If you type right now on Google, who discovered, the first person to discover Victoria Falls is a white man. David Livingstone, he's the one who discovered Victoria Falls. But the people of Batonga, they used to name that place Mosi Oatunya, the smoke that thunders. That's the original name of Victoria Falls. But today, everybody will say, we call it Victoria Falls. And we say that David Livingstone discovered that. And we still praise the name of the Queen Victoria. The same thing to the Lake Victoria. We call it Lake Victoria, but that lake, it had its original name the way before that guy came and discovered that. These are lies. Not only that, even the word Africa. Do you know who discovered the word Africa? You know who named our continent? It's a white man. It was not Africa. I told you that the Congo kingdom was bigger kingdom all the way to Angola. Let me call Angola. All the way to Angola, and then they divided it. People, like right now, if you see African map, there is part of Angola is inside Congo. Do you know that? Not only that, they use another way to teach different language. So people in Angola, they started to learn how to speak what? Portuguese. And people from Congo, they started to learn how to speak Belgium. Why? They were united, they were strong, but they had to divide them by teaching them different language so that they may not appreciate their culture, they may not be grateful with who they are, they may not embrace their identity and learn another identity. They were not done, they didn't stop there. Oh, they took some of our people. They found some people who, like Africans who were like strong like me, handsome like me. They took them and they took them away of the continent. Skillful Africans. These days we call like brain drain, right? They took them away because they wanted to develop themselves. And today, when you look at African, everybody out there think that Africa, they have low IQ. Who is the founder of IQ anyways? Africans, they're poor. Africans, they need support. Africans cannot survive without us being there, because from the first place, we went there, we discovered them, we taught them, we helped them to develop. Today, we're even happy when you look at South Africa, the way it developed, and we are happy about that. That, hey, look at this. But you can see what is going on in South Africa there. The division that is in that country, our brothers and sisters, it's outrageous. So the lies began all the way from the beginning to divide us, to change us, and to change our history. Today, Africans, we are struggling with identity. We are struggling with division. We look at each other differently because of our tribes, because of our color, because of our nationality, because of our languages. And we're still struggling with that. We don't think we are one people. We don't think we are one family because of someone else who had its own interest to divide and to conquer Africa. And it's still happening today. We ask ourselves every single day, why Africa is poor? Africa is poor because we don't have our identity anymore, because somebody else named our identity. And the big person to blame there is us Africans, who allowed that to happen back then and who are still allowing it to happen even today. I was asking myself, if we know how much unity means to Africa, we know that unity is power. You cannot know the meaning of power, and you cannot know the true meaning of power if you don't have unity. If you don't have unity, you don't have power. Africans, we don't know the meaning of power because we don't have unity. I'm telling you guys, power is not in the military. It's not in that. It's not about that. It's about the unity. And we'll never get to know the meaning of power if we are not united. And leaders and everybody in Africa knows that the only thing that can change Africa is unity and oneness. But we don't pursue it. But we are not ready to do it. Why is that? Because we have been comfortable for so long, living divided, losing our identity, and we are not ready to put on the work to find our true identity from the beginning, the true history of Africa even before colonization. Know who we really are as Africans. This is what I say all the time, that Africa is a big family with 55 different children. These 55 different children, they don't have same behaviors. They don't have the same, they don't look alike. Sometimes they don't even speak the same language. It depends where they grew up. But we are family. Why 55? Because 54, they're countries inside Africa, and that one country is diaspora, Africans all around the world, and they are our family. Because Africa is not just a place, but Africa is people. Me and you, we are Africa. The world is telling you this, that there's developing country, there's developed country. That's what they say. I never seen African say that. Who said that? White man. He said that. Oh, you guys, Africa, you're a developing country. Oh, us, we're a developed country. Let me ask you a question. Developed country means you got yourself figured out. But why all the time, constantly, you're looking forward and you try to exploit Africa to develop yourself? If you're developed, you don't need to develop yourself. You're a developed country. You got yourself figured out. And we are the ones that are developing. And yet, you exploit us. The truth is, we are all developing country, guys. The reason why there's this lie, so that you may look down on yourself. You may look down on yourself and believe that you need help, you need support, you need loans, you need aids, and you always beg to that because you want to develop. You are still not developed. What is the true meaning of developing? What is the meaning of that? And today, the system of this world was never created for Africans, and yet we still try to develop according to the Western standard. That development is having tall buildings, like long buildings and all this stuff. It's not about that. What about community? What about where people live? What about food? What about infrastructure? Do we really need tall and long building while our people are dying in Africa because of hunger? Why don't we invest that money into food? Why don't we empower our farmers so that they can produce more and Africa will never struggle with food? Today we have to ask for food from outside to come to, like the World Food Organization, they have to support Africa for that. It's shame on Africa and shame on us. Africa is a continent that can sustain itself without depending anyone, without relying on anyone for 100, even 1,000 years, because Africa is the only continent that has everything, like name it, everything we have it in Africa. Is the richest continent in the world. We cannot be free until we're in charge and we are in control of our own narratives, of our own medias, of our own economy. The reason why we're still poor because our economy is controlled by the Westerners. You can never be free if your economy is controlled. The reason why the media never talks positively about Africa because it's not African media. They have their own agenda. Just like I told you, all these lies about Africa, they have their own agenda. They will never talk positively about Africa. We want to transform and change Africa, and we cannot change Africa if we do not change. Yes, we're talking about the biggest problem we have in Africa is unemployment, but I want you to change that word problem to opportunity. For me, I don't see anything as a problem. It's an opportunity. Unemployment is an opportunity for you to discover, for you to do something to create jobs in Africa. Because in the age today, it's not about sitting and waiting for government to employ you, but you stepping outside, see the problem. One of my friends once said, you have to fall in love with the problem, because once you fall in love with the problem, you do research, you search about it, and you try to do something about it. And eventually you bring that change that Africa needs. If I want to change anything surrounding me, then I have to change from inside out. And I'll be able to bring that change that Africa needs. And youth, we're the leaders of today, we're leaders of tomorrow. We always hear that. And we have that in our hands. It's an opportunity for us to bring that change. Thank you so much.
Karibuni. Welcome to the stream, my brothers and sisters from Swahili Nation family. Hello, guys. Welcome to the Jamaican. Welcome, Maria Antoinette. Welcome, Maria. Welcome, KC. Welcome, Biggie. Welcome, Coconut. Nice name, my brother. Yeah, welcome to the stream, guys. Today we're talking about the presidential election that has just happened like last week. Yeah, Kenya went on an election. So it's been a dramatic 1 week, but now we are deep into week 2, and yeah, the drama continues. Today we're talking about the dispute. It's been disputed. Let me just show you guys how we started this thing. Ndio mjue leo.
We are just monitoring. Yes, there he is in the blue hat. Raila Odinga is walking into the KICC. So let's listen in. We shall get back to those numbers and my beautiful calculator after that.
Sana. Welcome. Address the
members of the Fourth Estate, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. We have a statement we want to issue today following the general elections that were held in our country on the 9th of this month. Today, I want to address my fellow Kenyans and the international community about the 2022 Kenyan elections and the role of the Independent Election and Boundaries Commission, the IEBC, the body mandated by the Constitution and the law to conduct and manage elections. On August 9th, 2022, millions of Kenyans turned out in large numbers in an attempt to choose their leaders at the national, county, and local levels after long and generally peaceful campaigns. But yesterday, August 15th, our budding democracy suffered a major setback. As a result, Kenya faces a grave legal and political crisis as a result of the actions of Mr. Wafula Chebukati, the chairperson of the IEBC. The Constitution and our laws are clear about how the IEBC should conduct its business. There's no more important role for the IEBC than the conduct, transmission, and tallying of the presidential election. We are painfully aware of the past political biases by the IEBC that plunged this country into its darkest chapter. The terrible memories of the aftermath of the 2007 elections are still fresh in our minds. In 2017, the Supreme Court of Kenya nullified the presidential election again because of the misconduct of the IEBC. What we saw yesterday was a travesty and a blatant disregard of the Constitution and the laws of Kenya by Mr. Chebukati and a minority of IEBC commissioners. The law is clear on the role of the chairperson of the IEBC. The law does not vest in the chairperson the powers of a dictator to rule the IEBC unilaterally. The IEBC is structured as a democratic institution in which decisions must be taken either by consensus or by a vote of the majority. The chairperson and a tiny minority of commissioners have no legal authority to take weighty decisions and proclaim them as the rulings of the IEBC. The law on the IEBC provides that unless a unanimous decision is reached, a decision on any matter before the Commission shall be by a majority of the members present and voting. I want to repeat. Unless a unanimous decision is reached, a decision on any matter before the Commission shall be by a majority of the members present and voting. In addition, the Court of Appeal in the Maina Kiai case ruled, and I quote again, reiterate, as we conclude, that there is no doubt from the architecture of the laws we have considered that the people of Kenya did not intend to vest or concentrate such sweeping and boundless powers in one individual, that is the chairperson of the appellant. That is why I and Azimio La Umoja One Kenya and the nation at large were shocked yesterday to learn that Mr. Chebukati alone decided to pronounce himself on the supposed winner of the 2022 presidential elections. We understand that only Mr. Chebukati alone had access to the tally of the presidential vote. He denied all the commissioners access to that information until he suddenly appeared before the commissioners in the late afternoon to present them with a fait accompli. Barely 2 hours before his announcement, Mr. Bukati called a meeting of the IEBC and revealed to them the different results he was going to announce. 4 of the 7 protested Mr. Chebukati's actions. But Mr. Chebukati, whose mind appeared made up, did not entertain any discussion of the results, precipitating a walkout by a majority of the commissioners, who promptly denounced the results at a press conference. We know what happened next. A majority of the commissioners walked out and held a press conference where they denounced the results. Our view in Azimio is clear. The figures announced by Mr. Chebukati are null and void. I repeat, the figures announced by Mr. Chebukati are null and void and must be quashed by a court of law. In our view, there is neither a legally and validly declared winner nor a president-elect. Mr. Chebukati's announcement purporting to announce a winner is a nullity. He acted with gross impunity and in total disregard of the Constitution and our laws. He could have plunged our country into chaos had our supporters not exercised great restraint. Such blatant acts of impunity can be a threat to the security of our country. It is not up to us to decide whether Mr. Chebukati has committed an offense. We leave that determination to the appropriate authorities. But for avoidance of doubt, I want to repeat that we totally and without reservations reject the presidential results announced yesterday by Mr. Chebukati. I want to commend our supporters for remaining calm and keeping the peace, and urge them to continue to do so. Let no one take the law into their own hands. We are pursuing constitutional and lawful channels and processes to invalidate Mr. Chebukati's illegal and unconstitutional pronouncement. We are certain that justice will prevail. I want to further commend the heroism of the 4 commissioners, the majority of the IEBC, who stood up to the bullying and the illegal conduct of Mr. Chebukati. We are proud of them and ask them not to fear anything. Kenyans are with them. Today, I do not want to fully address our strategies going forward, but suffice it to note that we will be pursuing all constitutional and legal options available to us. We will do so because we regard the many flaws in the elections and the wrongs committed by the IEBC as fatal to the process and the outcome announced by Mr. Chebukati. We urge Kenyans and the friends and partners of Kenya abroad to stand tall and be counted as we seek to advance the ideals of democracy and an open society that we have always stood for. We will pursue justice for our supporters and for all Kenyans so that their choices are respected and honored. May God bless you and may God bless Kenya. Nataka kuchukua tena fursa hii kutoa shukrani kwa Wakenya wenzangu ambayo wameshiriki katika uchaguzi ambayo imepita. Wameonyesha ujasiri, wameonyesha uzalendo na upendo kwa nchi yao. Wakenya kila mahali walijitokeza wakapiga kura kwa njia ya amani. Na sasa yale ambayo yalibaki ni tume ya uchaguzi kuhakikisha kwamba ile ndoto ya Wanakenya imeheshimiwa. Tumegundua hitilafu ambayo imefanyika katika IEBC ambaye imejaribu kutaka kukiuka yale ambayo Wakenya wenyewe walikuwa wamefanya. Tumeona yale ambayo imefanywa na yule mwenyekiti wa tume ya uchaguzi Bwana Wafula Chebukati kwa kujaribu kupindua ili uamuzi wa Wakenya. Anafanya hivyo bila kushauriana na wale wenzake ambaye wako pale pamoja naye katika tume ya uchaguzi. Sisi wana Kenya na wanaazimio tunapenda amani. Tunapenda umoja wa Kenya. Tunataka kuona kama Wakenya wameungana kama kitu kimoja. Ndio tunaongea juu ya azimio la umoja. Tuko na nia ya kuona kwamba Kenya imetoka katika janga la ufukara, janga ya kutokuwa na amani, na janga ya ubaguzi ya kikabila, ili Wakenya waungane kama watu moja, waweze kutekeleza wajibu yao kulingana na ndoto ya uanzilishi wa taifa letu. Hatutakubali, nataka kurudia hai, hatutakubali mtu mmoja ajaribu kuleta vurugu katika taifa letu, kujaribu vile vile kubadilisha yale ambayo Wakenya wameamua kama watu moja. Wakenya hawatakubali, hatutakubali. Tutazidi kutetea nchi yetu na katiba letu kama Wakenya ili Kenya iweze kuendelea mbele. Asanteni sana. Mungu ibariki Kenya, nchi yetu.
Niombe sote tusalie tumeketi tunaporuhusu.
Well, okay, I think you guys have gotten the gist of what's happening. Hello?
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me? Oh, karibu ndugu.
Yes. We're in.
Welcome, my brother. So yeah, we were talking about. I think you've gotten the message of one of the candidates of the election, Raila Odinga, that he's rejecting the
The
election
election
results.
results.
So what do you think about that? What is your opinion so far on the Kenyan election? Let's start from the beginning. From the beginning, what do you think? What is your opinion of the Kenyan election?
You know, as a Tanzanian, I would speak honestly that Kenya is one of the best economic blocks in East African, among East African countries, and we actually learn a lot of things from you guys from Kenya. But when it comes to this election, there are a number of things we would just talk about, because, you know, citing the nature of election itself, we expected that the election could be peaceful and the declaration of announcement of results would be peaceful, and verification of votes and everything, the whole election process could go smooth, just as it went. Except the challenge came when the results were about to be announced. We loved the quality of the campaigns, and I was talking to one of my neighbors that our friends, our fellow Kenyans, look at their presidential campaigns, the way these guys are speaking tangibilities, the doables, things that they are planning to do for their countries. And, you know, if they get to develop it in Kenya, the whole East Africa, you know, get to advance. But then, coming to the announcement of the results by the EBC, we found out that seems like the 4 members, as they just went away to declare irresponsibility of the results, it shows that there's something fishy, or maybe the process to verify the results was not inclusive, or maybe they were not involved, or they didn't reach to consensus, of which now there are other allegations that we've heard from from the chairman of the electoral commission board. We've heard that these 4 were trying to alter the results. They were having a different interest, or like in favor of the other contestant. So these ones leave all of us in, in ambiguity, and we're waiting to see what will be the standing order from the Supreme Court, as Raila Odinga said he will be taking the issue to the court. A number of political activists have recommended the same. So we are waiting to hear from whatever that the court will say, be it that they will want to rationalize the tallying so that they get to prove everything from the house, the counting house and everything. Yeah, but so far so good. Kenyan politics and democracy has gone higher bars, you know, and has set an example in Africa. That's what I would say.
Thank you. That's a very good. Actually, a very perfect. I could not even add to that summary. It's actually a very good summary of what's happening in Kenya right now. Yeah, I think you've spoken some truth that, yeah, during the campaign and the process of election was happening okay until the last day of the announcement of the results. That's when things became a little bit dusty, and we started seeing people fighting in the Bomas of Kenya. That's the hall or the auditorium in which the tallying was occurring, and all of a sudden we have 2 different factions in the IEBC disputing this election. So
Yeah.
first of all, yeah, so naturally Raila Odinga actually had actually said that he will not dispute these results. You know, he previously, before the election, he was asked, and he had actually said, no, I will not. If they no, let me quote him clearly. He said, if the elections are free and fair, I will not dispute it. So clearly he believes that the elections clearly believes that the elections are not free and fair. That's why I think he's.
But the election, in my view, and I stand to be corrected, with an international attention, we all believe that the election went very well, except on the last day. And the concurrence, I'm calling it a concurrence because while the people gathered in Bomas to announce the results, while the IBC gathered in Bomas to announce the results, some had already took the media attention using the back door to another hotel, the four commissioners. Of course, that one then resulted into throwing of chairs in the house and all that. So somewhere, somehow, we would still get back to the Kenyan constitution regarding the same. Like, what's the constitution, directing us on issues like this? Suppose these four, if they had any matter, if should there be any matter, we expected that these four would not use a back door. Maybe they would use the same platform that they had in the house. But again, you might ask yourself, they seemed to have the media preparation before they even left the house. So it seems like this thing was prearranged a day before, maybe, so that they informed the media houses on what's happening, what they are going to do, so they prepared them, That is it, and it is raising a lot of questions. And the other thing is, how did the chairman of the Electoral Commission Board declare the results without reaching into concession with his members, of which I think that is the requirement of the Constitution, that they sit down, they have a single forum, and they would issue the results that are already verified to the best of their knowledge and to the best of their confidence, that they get to share with us, with the world, the results that are already proved, But now they have kept everyone in disgust, knowing that there might be anomalies and discrepancies out of this election. I really like and I adore Indian election because, India is one of the world populated countries and serving more than 600 million voters, but they would only vote for like 3 to 5 hours and they have the results. The results are out. So I think it's the age of digitalization. We move from these things now, like having 7 days waiting for counting of the results, the paper ballot and everything. I think that's where we're resulting to this. So I think there are steps we need to do. Yes, we are doing very good in democracy, but and even our elections, but technology, I think I would blame technology, and that's it. That's from my side.
Yeah, obviously, that's a very interesting analysis you've brought, that the election, of course, the aspect of technology in election. I think what Kenya has pulled off, I know India, I don't know how long the elections in India take, but I think in Kenya, I think the law, the constitution of Kenya gives the IEBC chairman 7 days. That is the constitution. The constitution gives 1 week for the IEBC chairman to declare the presidency, to just everybody to conclude the IEBC to conclude the election. It takes one. It's the constitution of Kenya gives the IEBC 1 week. So what we have noticed to the chairman is that he likes to take this is the second election he's had. I think the third maybe. This is his last election, Chebukati, Wafula Chebukati. And what I've noticed is that he likes to use all those days. He likes to be thorough. That's what he says. He claims that, but it's looking like he likes to use all those days. He likes to, so that when he declares, especially in Kenya, where already you see it as he expected it to go to court. You see, it's already going to court. It was just expected. Everybody knew that this election, wherever it will go to, it will end up in court. So I think that's why he took 6 days, actually, I think, because he announced it on the 6th day. The 7th day was supposed to be Tuesday this week, but he announced it on Monday. So I think because of the court process, and he wanted to be thorough. And I think he was a bit thorough, although it's still being challenged, which they welcome. So let me just to explain the claims that Raila Odinga has been pushing. By the way, it's been a very interesting. Personally, I thought first of all, let me ask you, my brother, do you think the elections were fair, or do you think that there was a bit of irregularities?
With the elections, I would not comment, but what I see, there might be some anomalies, some discrepancies. Of course, we don't have African election that is 100% perfect or fair. But to what extent it was not fair, it was during the announcement of the results. That's when we learned that maybe something somewhere is wrong. But I'm so happy that Ruto was declared a winner, a president-elect. But, you know, it's just because if you compare the two, most of us believe now in youth, and Ruto is quite younger than Odinga, and we have so much expectations of this hustler. And the world is happy, I think, with Ruto than with Odinga. Yeah, I'm speaking in my perspective. It's just an opinion, it's not a fact. But what we see, the election, you know, in the face of the world, in the outside face, it was very fair, except during the announcement of the results. And that called everyone, every media right now is reporting what's happening in Kenya. And to an extent that some of the politicians told the people, told the Kenyans not to accept the results. And that means go protest in the roads and burn the tires and do this and that. And that's, you know, in a way, it stops the economic activities that we expect youth to be engaged with, or like the country to continue operating in normalcy. And I loved the speech produced by Mr. Ruto, by the president-elect Ruto, that he's no vengeance and no room to, you know, look back. And he wanted the country to get back to its normalcy and people getting back to the economic activities. But now that the thing is you know, brought on the table, it's attracting our attention and actually delaying everyone from going back to their offices and to works. And the other question is how the status of the immigrants that, you know, expected if the election get to end, they would actually switch or get back to the country. I think they are still in their home countries waiting for the election to end, this whole thing, this whole saga to end, so that they get back to Kenya. So I think they are denying the Kenyans the freedom to access their economy or continue with their works just because of this one-man thing. You know, what Mr. Chairman of the EBC, what he did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great another great analysis, my brother. But let's listen to this guy. This is somebody, I think he explains the Raila case. If his case, there are those who say that a lot of lawyers in Kenya actually are saying that he might have his case might be weak. Some are saying that no, maybe his case is strong. He's just trying to play with the opponent's head. But let's listen to this guy.
Press conference.
Then we see.
Because, but it's clear in my point of view to this extent. Was it a business under the commission? Let's start from there, because they are treating it as a business before the commission or a dispute before the commission. Then in that case, the commission's fault. Are we following that? Yeah. So if it's an issue before the commission, then you can take that route. So was it a dispute under the commission? None. But if it was a dispute under the commission, then you are saying, okay, then in the commission, they could vote and then decide. it was simply a matter of tallying. It is not one of the role, and the constitution gives the roles of commission where you are saying this is something falling under the commission for the entire commission to decide. It is not. Number two, and so the chair is simply put as the person that is the returning officer. The case that they are citing about Maina Kiae was a scenario where the chair did not rely on the results from the polling stations. Remember, the chair being returning officer do not manufacture the results. They are supposed to get the results from the polling stations in Form 34A. So that is the context of Maina Kiae, where the chair went ahead and ignored the results. And that is where Maina Kiae is saying, remember, it is Maina Kiae, and even laymen now knows Maina Kiae as the case that was saying that results are final at the polling station. At least that has become a chorus, isn't it? That result. And it took a Supreme Court to remind somebody like Chebukati that you cannot come here and tell us that you relied on Form 34B from the constituency. And if there were error in 34A, they were corrected with 34B. No, 34A is final. The results from the polling stations are final. So those are the two limbs of Maina Kiae. Where do the results come from? Not in IBC Commission, not in Nairobi, but at the polling stations.
I think let me explain to those who don't know the procedure in Kenya, the electoral procedure in Kenya. Yeah, when he says that the results are final, when he says that the results are final in the polling station, what he means is that when we vote, like when you go to vote in a polling station, what happens is that the returning officer in that polling station, once the election is declared, my brother, I think I'm getting a lot of feedback from your end. Maybe hello?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I was typing something. Okay, now I'm done.
Oh, you can mute then when okay, let me just speak. When I was talking about about these guys talking about the results of the polling station. The polling station is where people go to vote. Like me, when I go to vote, I go vote in a polling station. And in that polling station, there's a returning officer, the person who counts the votes in that small region, in that small area, in that small constituency, that small that neighborhood, basically. In that neighborhood, there's the returning officer. He counts the votes of that neighborhood. Then once he counts the votes and he writes all the numbers, he writes the numbers down in a form, and that form is called Form 34A. After writing all the numbers in that form, when everybody signs in that form, the agents of all the parties that are running, they sign on that form, including the returning officer. And once it's like that and it's stamped, it's done. That is the final result. And the court in Kenya ruled that result cannot be changed. That is where, and the guy who, the chairman of the IEBC, nobody can change that result. Nobody can correct it. Nobody can edit it. Nobody can do anything. That is the final result. So when there is an election dispute, what you're really disputing is the counting of those results. The IEBC chairman cannot come and correct that result. So whenever there's an election dispute in the courts, all of them take the Form 34A, and there are like 46,000 of them, because there are 46,000 polling stations. So there are around 46,000 Form 34As. They are all counted. In fact, this election, they were all uploaded. Once the returning officer signs and everybody has signed and it's been stamped, it's uploaded to the IEBC portal, where any Kenyan or even anybody outside Kenya can download it. And that's what was happening during this election. We were downloading those forms and we were adding them one by one until 46,000, and you can know who won the election because they were uploaded within 1 day. Within the 1 day, I think even by morning, most of them were uploaded. So all you had to do is just get your calculator and you fanya hesabu. You do your mathematics, you just addition 40 until 46, all the 46,000 polling stations, and the candidate who was won in all of them, or the candidate who has the most votes is declared. This is the person who is winning. So that was what's happening with the media station. That was what's happening with the IBC. Everybody was doing it, even independent observers and independent statisticians were just doing it. So that's why people already knew who's going to be the president even before the IBC announced, because they were already calculating for themselves. So this is the case that determined all that. It was a case in court 5 years ago, and this is the case, and the judge ruled this, the Maina Kiai case. That's the judge that's what he ruled. So this guy this guy who is a lawyer, is Duncan Ojwang. His name is a professor of law, and that's what he's really trying to explain.
And in that context is where now the court directs itself and tell the chair that you cannot just shoot from the hip and bring your own results. Surely it is the opposite here, where Chebukati is saying, look at the portal, look at the results from the polling stations. Everybody, they are not my results. And therefore, I think it is a case where you wonder why should we do things like this? They say in law, if you cannot argue in facts, argue in law. If you cannot argue in law, just hit the table. But this is worse than hitting the table, because that Maina Kiai decision is the biggest limp, and the biggest decision is that the results are final from the polling station. And Chebukati kept telling them, we cannot change anything, isn't it? That here in Bomas, we cannot change. Unless, just note the error, go to Supreme Court. Why? Because the results were final from the polling stations. So they are not Chebukati's results. They are not the chair's results. They are the people results. That is what Maina Kiai contribution is. And in dictum is not even part of the ruling. In the court trying to be flowery and show, they now describe how the chair behaved, who did not take into consideration the result from the polling station. And they are saying you became a lone ranger and a master in Maina Kiai. Surely that is not even part of the ruling. It is simply something that was describing what was happening in ignoring the result from polling station. Now here we are. The commission all of a sudden are declaring the result unconstitutional. They are all of a sudden citing Maina Kiai, but citing it wrongfully. They are all of a sudden struggling with the mathematics. They are all of a sudden not sure about that they were overruled, even though the constitution says that the returning officer. So envision a scenario where all the commissioners disagree with the winner, not with the results, but the winner. Do they then vote? And when you find majority of the commissioner vote that whom do we give between this, they might as well flip the coin. Then the commission say majority of us have seen that it is this guy. Then that becomes the result. Could that be what the law envisioned? That at the end of the day, let Kenyans vote, let then the commissioners vote, and whoever they vote for become the winner. Then why do we vote? Then why do we go to polling station? Then why do we have the Kimski? Then why do we have the agents? Then why do we tally at the constituencies? It bastardizes the whole idea of Article 138 that the people choose their leaders. Can it be about referendum of the commissioners? So that if they don't like maybe the shape of my head, if they don't like this candidate, they say majority of us have said Niuyu. Then we give them the result. Then why do we waste billions having Kenyans vote? Why don't we just flip a coin or have the commissioners decide this thing? Finally,
Oh, sorry for that. There was a bit of technical issues, but I'm back. So that guy, let me explain. I think that lawyer spoke for himself. He spoke very clearly. I don't know if you guys understood what he was trying to say. He was trying to say that what Raila is disputing, you cannot dispute those 4 commissioners. He's trying to say that those 4 commissioners don't determine even if they don't agree with the chairman of the IEBC, it doesn't matter because the results are determined at the polling station. The chairman cannot change the results. The chairman cannot say that these are the new results. All the results are determined in the polling station. So even if you don't agree with the chairman about the results are final at the polling station. It's not him. So Chebukati, he cannot come and say, oh, okay, what do you want to be the results? And what do I want to be the results? And then maybe we decide what is the result. It cannot be like that. You know, the results are determined after the counting the polling station. His work is just to count the Form 34As, all the polling stations, just to count, and they're already out there for everybody. Everybody else is counting. So meaning that the only disagreement you can have with the chairman is the mathematics. You know, it's like the only disagreement you can have is mathematics, and that one, even if you go to court, they're going to count together with the judge the Form 34As, and we're going to see who already won, which according to most people, even private tallies, it's Ruto who won if you just count the Form 34As. So what he was trying to say is that that the argument is kind of weak, and maybe that there is going to be a new argument when they go to court, because they have to. I think the deadline for them is Tuesday. So by next week Tuesday, they'll probably be submitting their court case in the Supreme Court of Kenya. So that's when we're going to understand who is wrong, and we'll see their case in full time. So yeah, I think I know my brother here. You said you support Ruto. Even my brother here, Julius Malema, also he is also saying the same thing. He's saying that Raila should Raila. Let me get his speech for. Let me get.
Yeah, please play it.
You've seen it. I think you've already seen it. It's been trending on social media.
Yeah, of course, I saw it. But again, I've loved the narrative that these other the 4 commissioners were not contesting against the results. They were against a person because they had someone in mind that they wanted him to win. Maybe. It is raising a lot of questions.
As the EFF, we congratulated him, and we think that the Kenyans must accept the results. It is what it is. With highly contested elections and with such an outcome, which is very close, you are likely to have people who are not satisfied. It comes with the nature of the game. But Kenyans must prioritize Kenya and must protect Kenya and must protect democracy. They must love their country more than loving individuals, because we cannot destroy a country on the basis of this or that individual who hasn't won elections. Shem Odinga has been trying. I think it's time for him to throw a towel and try a different candidate. Perhaps it could be a different outcome, but this is the 5th time. It can be done beyond this. He needs to accept and move on.
So, my brother, what do you think about what Julius Malema is saying? That
he is perfectly
should not even go to court.
They should not even go to court. According to this now, I'm coming to consensus that maybe they don't even need to go to the court, because if, as you have said, the chairman of the of the commission will only use the results that are signed by both parties, then there's no need to go to the court. What for? Because the court will verify the same thing at the end of the day.
Yeah. Actually, that's a very interesting perspective. Yes, but you see, the problem is that actually disagree with Julius Malema. I think. I think.
Mm.
I think if you look at Kenya the way we are, I think it's important for us to go to court because you see the way the election is right now. It all it's because we went to court on 2017, and it is Raila Odinga that went to court on 2017. So going to court always comes the court. You know, when you're having a dispute, even don't just dispute. When you when you know, me and you here, we can talk about these details and we can disagree, right? And maybe we can have an agreement. But in the end of the day, here we are just on media or we're here on YouTube talking. But when you talk about these things in the court, the whatever consensus that is reached or whatever conclusion is reached, it becomes law. You know. So
Yeah.
that's what happened. Even so that's why we say maybe it's very important. Maybe it's important we go to court so that whatever these guys had, whatever loopholes that Raila Odinga has seen, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, whatever loopholes he has seen in the electoral process, or whatever complaint he has that he's seeing that this needs to be fixed, or there is an error, the court can rule and make it even better. Because even right now, I think Kenya has had one of the most verifiable elections in the world. Because even at some point, Google was telling the results. I think at some point even Google, you could just Google Kenya election and you see it like as if, like, you know how they tally maybe the Premier League, they show the game continuing at what time. They were showing the live results. They were telling the live results, so you could see how many people, how it was increasing. Even in Google, the Google search page was showing you the results. So it was, everybody was tallying, and it was so open, you know. And you could not have had that if Raila Odinga himself actually had not gone to court in 2017, and the judge said no. You know that, in fact, the judge even said in the media everybody has to tally. That's why when in Kenya, when that result is declared in the polling station, that it is sent to the portal because of the law. It's not because they are doing us a favor, they want to be open. No, the law says you have to send it to a public portal so that anybody can access it. And then you have to send the original, the hard copy to the bombers, and they have to match with the one in the portal. If they don't match, that result of that polling station is null and void. So you have to send it to the public portal. Then the original one also has to match with the one that I was sent earlier. So it is a process of confirming. Then the IEBC, their work is to confirm and declare. So yeah, that was because of a court ruling. So even today, when I know Julius Malema, I think his statement comes, maybe he sees, when you see Raila, you see that maybe he has run for 5 times and he has lost 5 times. But every time he loses, there is always a change in the laws. There's always an upgrade in the democracy of Kenya. As in, even when in 2007 when he lost, we got a new constitution because people were angry. In 2017, you saw what happened. We have gotten even more stricter electoral laws. So people are actually waiting for Raila Odinga to go to court. In fact, lawyers are saying, yeah, he should go to court so that we get even more stricter electoral laws. So that, and also, people, my brother, yes, Ruto is young, and yeah, he may, from the perspective, many people's perspective. Yeah, Raila is an old man, and I know Ruto is young, but you see, Raila also 49.5% voted for Raila, and 50.4% voted for Ruto. So that is a small gap, it's a small gap. So it means half the country were for Raila. So those people, they are also, they are also looking for closure. In fact, what do you think, bro? So even going to the courtroom, might also help some of these people get closure, understand what's happening in the process. Also, it helps them also, a little bit. It's a little bit of some therapy, because now everything is laid bare. In a courtroom, everybody says their case. Everybody, and it's public information. So these are people like Raila has already begun to persecute his case in public. You see, it starts like that. Everybody persecutes their case in public and in front of the courtroom. So everything, there'll be media there. So every evidence is going to be put in front of everybody, and everybody is going to judge for themselves what really happened in the election. So it becomes also a small therapy, especially for our country. Right now, I feel like the country is really, really, really divided, guy. I think people are really. Let me know what. Let me show you some social media things. But what do you think as I pull up this video from actually TikTok, because Kenyans are really active on social media this time. Yeah, I was asking, what do you think about what I've just said about?
Yeah. I get that.
I think there's a problem with your audio. I don't know. I haven't heard you well. Hello?
In my view, hello?
Hello? I think you're frozen.
Hello? I
Yeah.
saying,
You had frozen a little bit. Yeah.
I was saying, once Martin Luther King said the arc of the moral universe is long, but bends toward justice. Are you getting me now?
Yeah, I think you are breaking up, but I think I heard what you're saying. You're saying that the Martin Luther, the arc towards just I haven't heard. I think it was Martin Luther's quote. Okay, yeah. What are you? Let me show you what these things. But you are saying that about the arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. But I think that's what you're trying to say. Hello. Okay. My brother's got some technical issues. He'll be back in a few seconds. But as we are waiting for him, a lot of people are angry with the election, guys. It's not. I know it may look. It's easy for maybe Malema to say that. Oh my God, okay, Raila should step down. But people actually believe this. Yeah, people actually are angry, and people need closure. Look at it. This is a good example.
My friend, well, Raila, Baba, tuko hapa kwa sababu yako. Hii Kenya wewe ndio umetengeneza na hatutishwi. Mimi mtu asinipigia simu kunisumbua. Nasikia uchungu. Kifua yangu imechamuka. Tumbo imechamuka. Matako imechamuka. Makende imepotea. Alafu mtu anasema ati oh, ati hey! 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 Usijaribu baba, usijaribu, usijaribu mheshimiwa the excellent Raila Amolo Odinga, usijaribu kuachilia. Wewe umeshinda na uko na numbers. Mlali niye Azimio power. Every election unakuja na kitambaya kusema umenyang'anyi. My friend, wewe Raila baba, tuko hapa kwa sababu yako. Hii Kenya wewe ndio umetengeneza na hatutishwi.
Yeah, okay. This is one of Raila Odinga's supporters. I think they are all of a group of supporters. They're telling Raila Odinga that don't give up. If you give up, we are too hurt. That don't give up. Whole fight, continue fighting. They're actually telling him to continue fighting. That fight for the votes, fight. So a lot of people really pushing for this. How a lot of people want it to go to court. A lot of people are waiting for it to, to be concluded. They believe that their votes have been stolen. They believe that there is an injustice that has been made. And I think this is where Kenya actually surpasses a lot of these Western countries. Like, in USA, you cannot, in the US, you cannot. Hello, my brother.
Yes, I'm back.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you have seen the video I've posted.
I saw this in YouTube earlier today.
Yeah, that's just one supporter, but let me show you another one here to show you that. Let me show you one here.
Wenye wako sawa, that is good. Merry Christmas to you. Sasa kuna wenye nimepiga kura mingi, lakini kura ya this time kuna kauchungu, alafu unasikia tu umechoka. Yani 1 minute uko sawa, the next minute umelala usiku ukikumbuka tu picha ya boma sivi ukikumbuka. Hii kitu ni uchungu. Mtu asijaribu kunipieka move on. Yes, tuna move on, lakini sasa watu wana move on differently. Nilishasema watu wana move on differently. Ni sawa, zingine zimepita, lakini ya this time ilikuwa uchungu. Hii kitu ni uchungu. Kuna kabaridi, alafu pia weather pia ni mbaya, kuna baridi, kila kitu ni mbaya, umechoka. Yani hata mtu haja kukosea mtu, yani wewe tu na feel tu kila hii kitu imetuchosha. Imetuacha na ka damage. Anyway, I do we move. Kuna tumelose mingi, lakini here this time my late ni uchungu. Aworo. Ngoja kidogo.
So I don't know if you've heard I think you can. Unajua Kiswahili ndugu yangu. So you've heard what my brother is saying here, that he has gone to many elections, but this one has hurt him the most. And you can see it's a trade. He has like 4,000 likes, meaning a lot of people have agreed with him. And even you can even see in the comments, guys are hurting. You can even in the comments. I don't know if I can open the comments from here, but you can just see even in the comments, guys are a lot of Kenyans, 1,000 comments. A lot of Kenyans are not happy. Yeah, I can't. But a lot of Kenyans are not happy. They're not feeling well. They're not content with.
They're not happy with the Ruto.
They're not content with the results. Yeah, they're not happy. Half the country was voting. Like I said, the country is divided. So you can't just, this is where I was like disagreeing with Julius Malema, because you are just saying, oh, he has lost 5 times, but you don't know how much this guy is loved. He's deeply loved. There are videos of people crying online because Baba. To be called Baba is not is not. There's a reason why he's called Baba. So he's really loved. That's what I'm saying. So people don't like, and people are hurting when they see him lose. And him himself, he has said that even if I think his case is not that strong. Maybe he might come up with a stronger case in the next few days. But you can see even that even the fact that even him he has not conceded, it makes people also feel like they've been stolen. So this thing, it had to go. It had to me. At first I was like, he doesn't. He just concedes and go. But then I realized, oh no, I was wrong. That people need to get therapy. People need to understand what happened. Kenyans need to heal.
But let me
this is
ask you
part
a
of the healing
question.
process.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
We have heard of the report from the, contestants like Odinga and the other one. But now, in election, the stakeholders, we have different kinds of stakeholders when it comes to an election, and we expect that they could not keep quiet. They should not keep quiet after this, whatever that is happening right now. So I'm actually yet to hear or see a report from religious organization groups, the faith organization groups, and faith-based organizations. We have individual aspirants. Like now we see some people reacting in our social networks, and now where are electoral observers? Where are election observers? We would want to see their reports so that if they are backing up whatsoever that is reported by Mr. Odinga, then that means it's true that the election was in one way or the other unfair. But if it's just one person, calling it unfair with the four commissioners who decided to use the back door, I think then that is not holding, it's not ringing a bell. And in the other side, of course, it's so hard for Ruto to govern the country peacefully because at least half of the country loved Odinga. In their own reasons, they loved Odinga, and that does not tell. If we are not reaching into consensus, that tells us that Odinga will still need to be given a position if Ruto is to govern peacefully. Maybe Odinga has to be given a position, but now will he be ready to accept? Will he be ready to concede? So that's where the questions would just come. See?
Okay, I agree with you. I agree with you when you're talking about that. The observers actually have come and they say the election is free and fair. But in Kenya we don't listen to observers. Kenya
in Africa,
observers
don't listen to observers.
Yeah. The 2017 the observers also they said the election was free and fair, but then it was nullified. We listen to the court. That's why we go to court. The observers are just they have their own interests. A lot of them they have their own interests. So people don't care much about the word of an observer. In fact, in Kenya they lost credibility in 2017. All of the credibility because they say the election is fair and free. Then the court says no, it's not fair and free. And now you can see nobody listens to them in Kenya. They're just people who talk maybe for outside people. They talk to the media for people outside Kenya. But in Kenya, they are not really taken too seriously. Even you can even see in the media stations, they don't even call observers to come and give their comment. They don't. They don't have credibility. It's the courts.
But
so that's
we have other organizations apart from election observers whom would also stand to comment. Yeah. What
you see, but you see, observers don't go to court. It is, you see, in the end of the day, it is Azimio or Raila Odinga who will tell Kenyans this is what happened, and then the judge will put all this evidence in front of us. And observer is, some people, there are 18,000. Actually, this election, 18,000 observers came to Kenya. 18,000 observers came to Kenya. You know, that's a lot of people. 18,000 just to observe an election. But you know, I think there are those. I think people are saying that this is just a reason for them to. They don't even observe the election. Some are just coming for holiday, but they want to be paid also. So they are saying, "I'm coming as an observer." But to honestly, in Kenya, I don't think observers are taken any. Their credibility is not really respected as observers. They're just here to. Yes, they are observers, but I've never seen an observer say, you know what, this election was not fair. They will always say the election is free and fair. That is according to my experience, and also according to our Kenyan experience. So, yeah,
But
I think
you know, my brother, there's something that is actually bringing attention to the world right now when it comes to Kenyan elections, because if we all understand that consensus building is a legitimate process, but now it happens that in every election, things like this happen. Somebody must go to court. Somebody must not accept the results. The court must do this and that, and there has to be change in the constitution or like improvement in this and that. Where is this driving us? Where is the future of Kenya regarding these things?
Yeah, I didn't get the question right. You were saying, why not the future of Kenya?
No, I'm saying with this tendency that after every election, we need to have things like the court coming to to actually verify the results. Where is like I think this thing comes from trust issues, maybe, or maybe the system itself is not that solid, or like it's not strong, or like it's not honest or truthful, if I may say. But where is it taking us? If we get to assess all elections since 2007 to date, you'll find out that all elections had gone this way, just like this one. What is it telling you about the Kenyan future elections? Should we continue with this culture? After every election, we go to court for concession.
Yeah, it's a good culture. I think I like it because no, for real, because court is part of the system. I don't know, this thing.
Court is truly part of the system, but here in Tanzania,
yeah.
I'm saying here in Tanzania, we actually when the Electoral Commission board, announced the results, we merely see people going to court because they are always fair and honest, and the numbers add up. And we don't have problems like that. So we would not have presidential, candidate cases, things like that. We don't really have here. Though sometimes, yes, someone might show that they are disagreeing or like dissatisfied in this and that, but not to an extent of going to the Supreme Court and court, releasing a statement. We're going to have this and that regarding this election and who is the legal president and all that. We don't really have that here, because I think this is a culture maybe. But if you guys feel comfortable that in every election someone has to go to the court, I think then that means this court has to be part of the IBC, maybe.
No. You see, court is not part of the IBC. Court is the court. Court is what keeping. Court is there to keep IBC also in check. It's systems.
Yeah,
systems are supposed to keep each other in check. So the court is there to keep IBC in check. So if IBC makes a mistake, then the court is there to say, no, you made a mistake and this is where it should be. So I think adding another layer of security or another layer of verification or another layer of systems of balance or checks and balance. Another layer of checks and balance is always great for me. I always believe. That's why I'm thinking, yeah. In fact, it should now. I think now it's going to become a tradition because this is the third time since third time. This is the third
This
election.
Odinga is
So in
still
the last 15
contesting.
years, yeah, we have to go to court. So I think it's a good process. I think it's a healthy process. Yeah, because
As long as Odinga is contesting, court is there.
No, I don't even think.
Must go to court.
Yeah, as long as Odinga is contesting, but it's not just Odinga. I don't think he's going to contest the next election. But in the next election, whoever is going to be running against Ruto, I will like to know. He will also be proud to know that even if no matter how powerful Ruto is, he cannot change a court. The court will always rule. So even you cannot bully the IBC into changing the results, or something like that because of the courts. That's why even Ruto was not popular for the president had chosen, was not supporting Ruto. So even you cannot bully anybody to change the IBC because in the end of the day this thing is going to go to court, and in court everything is bare. The truth is laid there in front of everybody. So if you have evidence, everything it will be laid bare, and the judges is in Kenya, I think, since Justice Maraga Supreme Court, where he nullified the 2017 election, the first, one of the bravest judges in Africa at that point, he was like, he went against the president. The president was the incumbent, and he said, no, this election is not free and fair. Restart. And he cited all this, and now you see the way the election this time has been very superb, even more superior. Even my sister here, Samira, says Kenya elections are safer than America's. In fact, it is America should come here. America should come to Kenya and learn. It's not a joke. It's true. No, it's not a joke. It's true. Kenya election is more superior. America, they don't even have the ability to go to Supreme Court. They don't have that option. It is only in America, once it's declared it is final, the candidate who is feeling like as if he has been wronged, he can't go to court. It is final there. But here in Kenya, we have shown that we are superior to those American constitution, and we are shown no, candidates should be able to go to court if there's an issue with an election. And now you see, look, it has become part of our process. Yeah. You see, so we have these Americans need to come here and learn how to conduct an election. This guy, we have surpassed them in this thing. That is just a fact. So sometimes we think these Mzungus are no. We have shown them even when they come here to observe. In fact, Hillary Clinton actually quoted Kenya, I think in 2012 when she lost to Donald Trump. She lost to Donald Trump, I think in 2012. Or is it 2016? I think it was 2016. Yeah, 2016 when she lost to Donald Trump. 2017, I think, she quoted Kenya, that in Kenya when you have because she thought that Donald Trump used the system against her. I mean, the FBI came and made her lose the election because they began an investigation like 2 days before the election, and it made her look bad. So she had a case
with the 2,000 emails and those.
So she had a case, and in fact, let me show you. This is actually a similar case that Raila is showing here, and I'm curious to see what the court says, because let me show you. This is why I'm telling you, these Americans, they can't tell us anything. We are beginning to show them that in Africa here,
we can do our thing.
Yeah, in Africa we can do a lot of things here that
in Mombasa, because they knew this was a mere stronghold. The elections they passed on 8th proved that the amount of people who have been able to win in Mombasa, close to 90% plus of all leaders who've been elected in Mombasa are Azimio. They knew that this was going to cause a problem in terms of turnout. And now they're trying to do this with that vivid imagination, a friction of the imagination coming out, hoping that their chosen person is the one who's going to be president, and the Supreme Court is going to rule in their favor, so that now they're in power and then they can do these elections the way they want to do them. We're going to go to court. There's one person called Raila Amolo Odinga who sacrificed to make this constitution the way it is, so that we don't have Chebukatis out there trying to abuse power in this country. This is only being done, mark my words, this is being done. One, they purposely misprinted Kakamega and Mombasa because they knew these were Azimio strongholds. The elections they passed on 8th proved that the amount of people who have been able to win in Mombasa, close.
This is the governor aspirant. This guy, he is running for governor in Mombasa. Actually, that's where I am here. That's where I reside right currently. He's running for governor in Mombasa. But the IEBC misprinted the governor, the ballot for the governor. The vote there. So what happens? What happened is they had to postpone the election for governor in Mombasa. You know, so you can vote for president, MCA, members of parliament, senator, but you can't vote for governor. But they have postponed it to a later date. Now, what these guys are accusing IEBC is that because people could not vote for governor, Mombasa had a low turnout for presidential election. We had actually a 48%, one of the lowest in the country, turnout, meaning that this is now their case is that this is manufactured apathy because Mombasa is a Raila stronghold, you know, it's an Azimio stronghold. So they are saying that this is manufactured apathy by the IEBC, and they're going to take it to court. And we same situation as Hillary Clinton, where she says that this thing made people not vote for me because of this, you know. So I will be curious to see what the court says, because they might have a case that because there was no governor running for, you know, because you misprinted the ballot for the governor, it affected people from coming to turn out to vote, because maybe people will have turned out to vote for the governor, they will have voted for the president also. So it's a very interesting, it might come up with a ruling. I don't think it might change everything, but they might say the next time, what happened if you must have all the people, all the seats, all the positions in the ballot, you know. So this is why it's always important to have going to court. Imagine if there was no ability to go to court. You will be here, will not be listening to these conclusions. We'll just be having these debates, and nothing happens. But because there is a courtroom, we can have these debates in a courtroom, and then the ruling and the conclusion becomes a law. You know, so yeah, this is why I'm telling you. Yeah, this is why I'm telling you. This is why Kenya surpassed a lot of these Western countries in their
that one, of
so-called
course. In this epic time, we are discussing Kenyans as you know, Kenyan election is one of the best elections in Africa and across the world, maybe, if I may say. And
in the world,
Kenyan
top of the top. It's better than USA for sure. We have surpassed America when it comes to verification of votes. Even our systems are way superior.
It's just that Kenyan judicial system is very strong and independent. That makes it stand, you know, that makes it able to correct and check everything regarding the president performance, the elections and everything, the politics, all that. Anybody can go to the courts and get get justice. But again, I think now let's assess the impact of this delayed process, maybe time overruns or maybe cost overruns, maybe how is it affecting an average Kenyan young man like you and I believe we are young. So how is this thing affecting us as youth? The delay of election results, as well as whatever is happening right now, being the Odinga's follower or being in the side of Ruto. How is it affecting us youth?
Hello? Oh, I'm sorry. My mic was muted. But what I was saying is the youth
Have you
are
heard my
talking too.
question?
Yeah, I had your question. My mic was muted. But
Okay.
what I was saying is that yeah, the youth are getting anxious, but we have to say something that is very important. Another thing that I see that Kenya has also done better, and we have to think, I don't know if it's the courts. We have to thank the courts because I think, I don't know if it was one of the early bills of the president. I think, I don't know if it was in 2018 or 2019, but the president of Kenya, the ruling party at that time were trying to send a bill where whatever you say in the internet, maybe you can prosecute it or something like that. Then people went to, like, because Kenyans, people went to court, and the court said no, that is an infringement of freedom of speech, and people are allowed to say whatever they say in freedom. And because of that, the internet has been, I think in Kenya, the internet has not been interrupted, which is common I see in Africa, where the government shuts down the internet. In Kenya, even you can see we're talking, the internet has not been interrupted. In fact, because the internet is also a very important part during the election of, how do you send the forms without the internet? So the internet has been very integral part of the election, and also because of freedom of speech that has been reinforced by courts, that you cannot prosecute somebody because of what they said online or something like that. You cannot infringe, that means that the youth,
But anyway,
let me say, that means that the youth are actually talking and are actually communicating about the deep issues in Kenya. Let me give you one. In fact, that's a very good question. Today I came with a lot of social media because social media tells us what's happening in the country. People are posting what they are feeling, and people are posting what they see is an issue. So yeah, it's a good question of us. So let me show you one youth here. The topic so far in Kenya right now that is trending, and I see youth are discussing, and this I'm talking about Gen Zs and millennials. They're talking about the election, and they're talking about the issues in Kenya, like deep tribalism, actually, deep tribal issues in Kenya. So let me show you one where youth, and I was talking about this actually with Mika. A few weeks ago, we're talking with Mika, and we were talking that I think we all agreed that it's very important for people to talk. Like, a government should always allow avenues in which people talk. I'm talking about, and we are talking about in barazas. Baraza. The small community meetings where people talk, and we were talking about that should be allowed in all the government, where people have community meetings and they discuss the issues of the community. And
was
they
it
come up
banned
with
before?
It's not banned, but the government does not encourage. I think African governments don't like to encourage this, even when it comes, especially when they are discussing politics. I feel like African governments don't like
most
to encourage
leaders
this.
don't want to receive criticism from the general public, but I think now, coming up modern politics in Africa, we should expect all of that. Like in every country now, judicial system will grow strong. We have seen the election of Zambia; it went very well. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And also, not because the judicial system, in fact, that also shows you that just one system, just that is functioning properly, can change the whole country. Just one system, it changes the whole country. That even people start becoming, other systems are starting to keep, starts to function. So it's also a good way of showing that many people just one good act, and we have to thank Justice David Maraga, because just one good act by one man, all it takes, it doesn't, it shows that it doesn't take a whole movement of people. No, it's just one good act by a man in charge. Just some one good act and
Just one
everything, and it
person.
gives, yeah, and it can give courage to a whole movement. Now the whole judiciary is be ruling independently just because, oh, you can annul an election and you can go against the president and you are brave like that. Now everybody in the judiciary is looking like, oh, now we are all brave now. We are all going to be independent. And you see now they have become independent. So even, all this stuff just takes one person just to do the right thing, and it becomes very infectious.
So
That's
a question out of that, whatever that you're saying
yeah.
right now. What are your expectations, like from the Supreme Court, as Mr. Odinga will be going to the court? What are your expectations out of that?
Hello. I think I don't know if it's me or you're cracking up. I don't know if it's me or I didn't hear
Okay,
you. You're breaking up.
I asked you that now that Odinga is going to the court, what are your expectations, or like the expectations of youth, number of youth in Kenya regarding these proceedings? What are their expectations? Is this that Odinga is going to win and being declared a president?
Hello. I think you're cracking up. You're breaking up. I don't know. No, is it my internet or is it? I don't know, guys. Maybe guys in the comment section can. I don't know, but I feel like I haven't heard your question. They've been breaking up, so I don't know if it's me or I don't know. Can you hear me properly?
I can hear you properly. Can you hear me properly?
Oh, now yeah, I can hear you right now. I can hear you properly, but that when you're asking a question, it was breaking up.
No, my question was very simple. What are the expectations of number of youth in your country regarding this proceeding to the court? Are they expecting Odinga to win or being declared a winner?
The youth are Kenya. The youth are divided. It's 49. They look at the votes. It's 49, 50. That divided Kenya in all demographics. Everybody, it's all divided. That's why I was appreciating the question about you asking about what are the youth talking about, and that's why guys are talking about tribalism. And they're talking about it very deeply. That I was like, oh, this is one of the advantages of having forums for people to talk, because when people talk, you start to confront the issues of your country openly. And let me just first of all let me just show you this and I've also found out that women in Kenya, they are really vocal. It's like, not this one. Let me show you another one. I think, but I have really appreciated the fact that the internet has made also the youth to be able to discuss the issues of a country. People like to say that the internet. Look,
over 3K. And so let me read this one out. That parents and wazee played a huge role in tribalism that is in this country. I hope one day we can all be on the same page. So this is really affecting most of us because if parents and wazee did all this and told us all the things that they told about Raila and the Luo generation, or rather the Luo land, it's making so many people to move out of their marriages because they don't want to stay there, or rather they don't want to hurt their parents because they're married to Luos. And even some Luos are getting out of marriages because they don't want to hurt their parents because they're married to maybe Kikuyus and other tribes. So I think, and also again, we are hating something that we did not experience. Because imagine, Kama, you really love a guy from a Luo land, or you really love a woman from Kikuyu. You see, you'll end up marrying someone you don't love, or someone you don't want to be or spend your life with, because of the things your parents told you about something like this. I've not said it. You can go see my video and see all the views that people are giving, the things they found, the things they heard. But we cannot judge anybody. No one is perfect. We choose a leader because it's our option. But now hate that is transpiring to even the whole generation, to a whole tribe. I think we're way too tribal for all this. And it's high time we play safe, we play like us. It's us. These guys, these old people will also die, and we'll end up paying something or suffering things we didn't have to suffer for. If we can all be on the same page, I think we can be at a great place as Kenyans, because uchumi itaharibikia kila mtu, sio Mjaluo, sio Mkikuyu, sio Mkalenjin, sio Mkisii, sio Mkamba, everybody. So continue giving your views and what you think should be done to like rectify all this. Thank you. So guys, I recently did a video about why.
Yeah, as you see, this lady, she's talking about the tribalism that has been influencing people to vote on terms of tribal lines, and she's talking about it, and it's not only her, it's a lot of people discussing, hey, why are we so tribal that even when we vote our leaders, we are so tribal? And I see a lot of youth are doing this, a lot of millennials, a lot of Gen Zs. They're beginning to think, why, people are asking, why do we hate that tribe? For real, like they're asking why, for sure, because a lot of this hate, it comes from colonialism. A lot of this hate is colonial hate. So I am liking that the internet and the fact that people are more youth are online, which is something I'm also saying to advocate for people in Africa, that keep like internet connectivity has made these forums to come online, and people now are just talking from the comfort of their rooms, and they're discussing the issues of the country, especially during election, which is I didn't see this before in the previous election. I didn't see this in that, but this election is unique, that we have youth, young people talking about the issues that are causing all this anxiety, are causing all this hate, causing all this division in the country. Because this is a point. So sometimes I'm thinking, maybe having an election for 2 weeks, prolonged for 2 weeks, now going to the third week, maybe we need this as a country. Maybe we need this so that we can confront ourselves in our raw selves, confront our raw selves when we vote the way we are as a society, the leaders we choose. People are now, and I'm just happy. I'm actually happy because it just shows that the next generation, or every generations, are now, because of online, they're discussing issues that they're talking about the traumas, that the colonial traumas that their parents put on them, about tribalism, about hating on this other person. And now they are actually confronting it and talking about, but why did you hate these guys? What did they do to you? They did nothing.
But the question is, it's been 50 years after the independence of Kenya. Now, speaking of the colonial, the post... Sorry, I just got distracted by someone who called me. I'm saying, now after independence, it's 50 years after independence now. So if we'll be speaking of the effects of colonialism, I think we were supposed to have dealt with it way far, So speak issues like tribalism, I think they still center on what you guys can do, like the administration, the government, social systems, social organizations. I think that's in the hands of them to do it, or like see how to act to unify Kenyans first before anything else, so that a Kenyan can be identified by being a Kenyan, not by their tribe, like what is happening right now.
Yeah, you have but the problem is colonialism is still lingering. The effects of colonialism, even if it's 50 years, those effects are still lingering even till today. So, and especially when you have leaders who benefit from those effects. You know, when you have leaders who benefit from the effects of colonialism, like tribalism. Tribalism is an effect of colonialism. In Kenya, it is. And leaders in Kenya, they benefit from tribalism. What happens is that it will be perpetuated, right? Until the youth, or until not even the youth, just the communities discuss these things. And when people, that's why I always say, when people talk, they start to see the issues clearly, and they start to see the dysfunctions in their society much more clearly. But if people don't talk, like the way the politicians want us not to talk about politics, when in public, maybe they start pulling people to arrest or trying to call. When politicians try to pull off that, they're trying to prevent people from talking and coming up with their own ideas. The politicians want they want to give the people the ideas. That's what happens now. Those issues don't get resolved. But now, because of the internet, I think people don't need to really go pull. I'm saying that people are actually discussing the hatred and where does it come from. They're asking the right questions, because it's like, why are we supposed to hate these guys? And people are saying, no, what, my mom used to tell me to hate these people. My dad used to tell me to hate these people. And it's now, in fact, now they're saying, why are our parents pushing this thing? It's not something that it should be promoted. So we are beginning to see a generation of young Kenyans think for themselves, start to question everything. Even some are even going even more bold and daring. I won't show it here, but there are some who are even more daring and questioning religion, questioning Christianity, questioning all the religions, questioning spirituality. And they are talking to many people, and they're trending in the country. So I'm starting to see that when you allow people to speak and allow exchange of ideas, people to come up with ideas, even you can see the politicians are going to conform. That's what I'm saying, that politicians are beginning to conform with what people are, with the people, instead of the people conforming with the politician. The roles are reversing, and now I see politicians beginning to conform with the people. Even that's why, and I see the effect even as you said, in the campaigns. People, Hustler, that that is because that's a result of people talking and him saying, oh, you know what, people are interested in business. They don't care about tribes. So even in the campaign, it wasn't a lot about tribes. In fact, we have moved a little bit away from tribes in this campaign period. The last one was like, oh, this tribe, come, let us vote as this tribe. And
the fact that people are mentioning tribes during elections, that's not a good symbol. And it shows that our society is somehow segmented. And if they are choosing someone in the basis of the tribes they're coming from, it means that it tells clearly that they are also going to drive the same in the justice system, in the parliament, and you'll find out in public service. Because if the nature of the government is, if the government is tribally driven, it means that even the public service will be the same, will be driven in the same direction. And the direction of the business and everything in the country will be like the ones that are in power will excel, they will get loans and all that. I think we need to actually burn this down to ashes, the tribalism thing in Kenya. And I identify Kenyans as Kenyans. And I would wonder, looking at Kenyan youth identifying themselves in the basis of tribes, that is not helping. And it's not in 21st centuries, we are not expecting that. Are you getting it, sir?
Yeah, I'm getting it. I don't know. I don't think it's a danger. I don't think it's that bad to identify as a tribe. What I think the line and people are talking about is, why do you hate that other tribe? That's I think where the issue becomes, because you can identify yourself as your tribe. You can be proud of your own tribe. You can be proud of the culture and all that. But once it starts saying that, why do you hate this other tribe? In fact, let me just play this video of this lady, because this one is what touched me as a Kenyan, and it touched many Kenyans. Actually, you see 21,000 likes. The youth these days, we are on TikTok, so yeah, 21,000 likes. So Let's see what this lady said. It's very viral.
Kubwa hivyo ati hadi huwezi chagua. Okay, sio kuchagua, unachukia Raila. Na yani ukaweza ulizwa ni nini hiyo amewai kufanyia that tunakuwa na hiyo hate. Sijui kama ni kulelewa vibaya ama I don't know. Yani nimejiulizia hiyo swali juu aki ukisikia tu ati yeye ndio anaweza kuwa president. Kila mtu ako kai sasa kutakalika, sasa kutafanyika. So najiuliza tu yani which is that thing? That hate. Where did they it originate where? Aki we hate that guy. Na hatuna yani valid reasons. Juu hata ukaweza shikwa hapo uambiwe save your life. Raila amewai kufanyia nini? Sema sahi ama uachiliwe ama uuliwe. Unaweza sema save your life with a valid reason. I think pia wazazi wetu we need to do better. Like we need to you could have trained us better to love like everyone. Sasa yani tuko watu mudho ile tunakuwa tumemchukia ile design nyingine so deep. And I think no sometimes very unfair. Just forgive me. It's just my reasoning. I don't know whether it's a valid reason, but I'm just don't come to me. I'm just reasoning. Just asking myself these questions. Todo aki nime experience na hii election niko like kaiwa na kiongoza. Okay, support.
So yeah, for those who don't know Swahili, she's talking about this election period, this prolonged period. There's actually a lot of toxicity in social media actually at the moment. There's a lot of hate pushed around, a lot of tribal hate, a lot of, and because of that, whenever there's an action, there's a reaction, right? So this is the reaction, like there's a push now, reaction to try to understand why is this hate? And this is why it's good. I'm going to reiterate this point, but this is why it's good for people to have a public forum where people can just push their ideas. Like her, she just said, I have an idea, guys. Why do you guys hate it? And it has resonated with many people. I think it has almost 1 million views or something. I think it probably has some. But you can see that people have well, that's a good question. When you have a lot of people talking, ideas will come out, people will question, and that is what democracy is. That is what freedom of speech brings to a nation. So yeah, that was what I was just going to put about the youth. That there is a change in Kenya where people are questioning, and I think and you're talking about the civil servants, the people who are working for the government. If there is politics of hate, what I see is that these guys are the future civil servants. These guys are the future head of all these departments. These guys who are questioning everything. So slowly but surely, if people are questioning the hate, it's just going to be like, tribalism is going to be seen for what it is. That is going to be seen as something that is senseless, something that it does not really make sense, something that is useless, and it is a burden to society. As you can see, people in the last 2 weeks, everything has just been toxic. Everybody has been, the country is divided in half. You see, people believe the election has been mismanaged. Others believe the election is fair, and so there is a lot of throwing of words and here there, and people are saying, "Hey, why do we hate each other?" When people are fighting, then they stop and ask, "Why are we fighting?" At that point, I think we have reached that point as the youth of the country. I've just reached wait, why are we fighting again? And I'm enjoying this. I'm here for it. That's why I'm saying, what? These are just one of the silver linings of an election period. One of the silver linings. I know guys have been in this panel. Actually, the guys are saying it's good for the internet to be shut off because of foreign interference. But is this worth the sacrifice? Is people giving their opinions like this? Is it worth the sacrifice? That you are saying there'll be foreign interference, they will be vulnerable to foreign propaganda, or all these things. But is it worth the sacrifice not to hear youth talk to each other in these times of extreme pressure? This is the time where people should be talking and saying and questioning everything. And I'm just happy. I'm not gonna lie. in the end of the day, the president-elect, actually, William Ruto, he said that in this election, it's Kenyans who have won because of how it's been, the process has, how the due process has been taken, even towards court. Even I'm okay with it going to court because a lot of people are not happy with the election and they need closure. They need, as Marie Antoinette has said somewhere there, I think they need their own, they need the therapy. They need to heal, and seeing how the process was free and fair, or seeing how everything is going, each candidate putting their evidence forward, the IEBC putting the evidence forward, you get to see what happened behind the scenes, and you get to see, and you get to heal, and now you get to understand, okay, now this is how they are as a country. We get to confront ourselves in the mirror. So yeah, that's really my point. I think, I don't know if you have an extra point. I think when it comes to youth, I think I've really exhausted it, unless you haven't had the question about the youth. Oh, I think my brother has dropped off. Oh, okay. So yeah, guys, I think we've really discussed this election deep. For those who didn't know what's happening in Kenya, I think now you have a very interesting idea of what's really happened. So let's talk about I think we've discussed everything. I think, yeah, there is some interesting news that has happened actually in the country. The American delegation, Americans are in the country now, guys. We have Americans in the country. In fact, an American senator is in the country right now. I think they arrived yesterday. They arrived as a delegation to talk to the president, to talk to the president-elect, and to talk to Raila Odinga. So they've had separate meetings. So it has really sparked up interest. The ears of it has really twitched the ears of people. Like, what's happening? Why is there an American delegation coming to Kenya at this crazy time? At this time where there is no there is uncertainty, where there is no clear, okay, we have the president-elect, but there's still a court case which will take 7 days, which will take 14 days, 2 weeks to conclude and everything. Then, it's going to be crazy. It's not a good time. I think they should have waited maybe after the process has ended. But when they come at this time, it's really flagged a lot of people, and people are wondering, why are they here? Why are they here to negotiate? Who are they trying to, maybe having a favorite, or are trying to, are they trying to meddle? Some people are like, they're trying to negotiate, although those I feel like it's a naive way, they're trying to negotiate a peace, but we're already at peace, Like I said before, Kenya, we have had a much more, way much more better, election than any American can ever have at the moment, until maybe they change the constitution and change it. But at the moment, our elections, to me, are way superior. So yeah, let's read this article. Yeah, here we are. An American delegation comes to meet Thursday. Yeah, an American delegation of legislatures. In fact, it's legislators like senators, I think congressmen. They're in America. They're in Kenya right now. The U.S. senator for Delaware landed in the country on Wednesday night. So I don't know what's up with that. He will return again yeah. I think we have so I don't know what their deal is. They haven't talked about what they're going to discuss. They're just saying they're going to discuss goals health, security, very vague, and economic prosperity. But I don't know. I feel like it's a matter of concern. I don't know why. There are also claims that William Ruto might be leaning towards Russia. The president-elect, he might be leaning towards Russia, but I don't think that's true. The meeting has come at a time when Odinga, a front-runner in a concluded presidential election, has disputed the declaration of his main rival Ruto as the president. Yeah, we already know this. Yeah, I think this is just about the election. But here's what the embassy said. Going forward, we urge all parties to work together peacefully to resolve the many concerns about this election, through which the dispute resolution mechanisms. Yeah, and also the president, the ambassador, the new ambassador, actually, I think she's barely a few months into the job, is a billionaire. Is an actual dollar billionaire, and she was appointed the American ambassador to Kenya. So these are just interesting facts for guys to just to mule on. Maybe you have your own theories. Maybe you guys there are a lot of diaspora who watch this stream, so maybe you guys can give us an idea of what's happening or what was maybe they've talked about their plan, Kenya, but yeah, this lady here, she's the US ambassador to Kenya. She's new, and she's an actual billionaire. Like, it's a very interesting appointment by Joe Biden. So yeah, more to come. Maybe we'll see what their plan is. But so far, she has actually met with conservationists. So I don't know why, and you know how controversial conservation is in East Africa. You know, these guys, it's like land grabbing, but in the name of helping animals. So I don't know. I don't know why a billionaire is an ambassador to Kenya. An American white billionaire is an ambassador to America in Kenya. I don't know what's happening there. For those who know, let us know. But yeah, at the end of the day, as we wait for my brother, I don't know, my brother, is he coming back? Or is there technical issues? Well, as we wait, let's remind you that in Swahili Nation here we are. Welcome back, guys. Welcome to the stream. I think I was talking to a muted mic for a second there. But yeah, we're talking about Raila Odinga's court case. He's disputed the election today. My brother here was with me from Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, Joab, but I think he's missing. I don't know. I think he was having some technical issues. I don't know if he's going to come back and so that we can conclude the show. But anyway, I don't know if you heard me when I was talking about the American billionaire ambassador to Kenya. Here she is. She's just, and the American senator for Delaware is just landed in Kenya last night. So I don't know what's the deal there. I don't know what interest they have in the Kenyan election, because the election is not over. So it's a very interesting time for them to show up. So I don't know. Maybe they got me a little bit nervous. That's what I have to say. But, you know, you always get nervous when you have Americans who just yeah, when the American government just shows you interest in your country, you have to get nervous. Like what's up? You know, are they trying to affect the leader? Are they trying to continue the empire, or are they threatened by the new president elect? You know, that might be also a good sign. I don't know, but yeah, basically that's it. I think we've really covered everything in this stream, and guys, so I think probably I'm going to end it in a few seconds. But before I end it, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Brother, thank you, my brother Joab, for engaging in a very, very, very challenging conversation. And you've asked some very pertinent questions. I hope we see you again. But in case we don't, we're having a fundraiser, guys, in Swahili Nation for the officers, so that we can also have our own tallies and we can also follow the election. I think the next election is going to be Angola this year. I think Angola might be having an election this year. And yeah, we might also follow it up, and we might also be part of the media houses that are tallying those elections and putting those African leaders to check, like checks and balances, right? So yeah, donate to Swahili Nation One Africa. The GoFundMe is already here. I think Mika has already posted it. But for those who haven't, continue to donate. Thank you for those who have donated. Keep up the good work. And let me play you the video as we end the stream. Thank you guys for coming. It's been a great talk.
The world that we are living right now, there's so much lies, and we're living lies. Sometimes, even when you speak the truth, people, they're not interested in the truth. People, they don't pay attention to the truth. They don't want to hear it. But what is truth? What is truth? Is truth, is it what you read from the books? For example, if you want to know about Africa, is it what you read on the book? Things that different people, they write opinion about Africa? Or is it something that somebody tells you about yourself, that this is the truth, this is who you are? For me, at least for me, the truth for me is that still small voice inside of me. Like when the whole world is telling you that this is impossible, achieving one Africa in our generation is impossible. We have been struggling for that for like 60 years and we still don't have unity in Africa. It is impossible. There's still small voice inside of me that tells me that it's possible to achieve that. When the world is telling you that, you know what, you cannot do this. I mean, you're African, you cannot make it, especially outside of Africa, because you're black, you cannot make it. There's still small voice inside of me that is telling me that you can do. That is truth for me. And each one of us, we have that instinct inside of us. Regardless of what the world tells you, regardless of what has been written in the books, because everything you see is opinion of people. They did their own research, they discovered some stuff and they wrote it. That means you can find your own truth as well. And it's inside of us, that voice. And if you never heard that voice, then I think you can do whatever you want to do, whether it's meditation, whether it's research, whether it's going to school, and find the truth at the end of the day, because the truth will be there. The world we're living in today and the system of this world, it was never created for black people or for Africans. This system, as they were creating it, like Africa, you and me, we were outside of the picture. That's why today, you African, you can go anywhere around the world and still feel like it's not your home, still feel like you're isolated, exploited, you're not belonging there because it's not your system. Our ancestors, when they were taken a long time ago during slavery and brought there, they were brought there not to have a good life. No, they were brought there to work for white men, to develop them. Today you have a lot of countries out there that are developed because of the blood, sweat, and tears of a black man. That's how it was created. So it's true, today we're fighting for the rights outside of Africa, but I'm afraid that we might not be able to see that. And I'm being optimistic when I say this, because unless that system change, we cannot see that change, because it was never created for you at the first place. But sadly, not only outside of Africa, when you come inside of Africa, we are still struggling with the same system. And today I'm going to share with you some of the lies that we have believed for so long time about Africa and about ourselves. But it's all about the propaganda of changing the narratives and the beliefs about Africa so that we may never succeed. And I'm not going to point fingers at anyone. In fact, I always point fingers at us as Africans. The lie began from the very beginning of time, right? And I can ask you one question right now. What does history tell us you about Africa? Who discovered Africa? If you write right now on Google, who discovered Africa, you find out that is one white man, that he came and discovered Africa. And you can ask yourself that how can you discover a place that already exists? How can you discover a place that people already live in that place? It is impossible, but that's what the history tells us. That's what people believe about Africa, that it was discovered by a white man. This guy, he came, and then he went back, he gave a report, and then the next we know is colonialism, because those guys, they sat somewhere to divide Africa like a piece of cake, because they discovered it, they own it, it belonged to them. But that is us. We discovered, we're the first people to know. And today you have a lot of people around the world that they think that Africa was discovered by them. So they divided us, right? Divide the continent and give each other some pieces. When you go to Angola, Angola was part of Congo Kingdom, guys. It was not even called Angola, it was Angola. Angola, it means the kingdom. That's the meaning of Angola. Even the capital city of Angola, they say it's Luanda right now, but it used to be called Luanda. But you know, those white men, when they came, again, guys, I'm not anti-West. Don't get me wrong. But again, when those colonizers came, what they did, this is what they say. They say, if you read in the history, they'll tell you that they were not able to pronounce Angola. It is impossible. Like, you are smart, you study, you're civilized, that's how you see yourself, and you cannot pronounce the word Angola. So it changed to Angola. Luanda, it changed to Luanda. And so many other different places. If you type right now on Google, who discovered, the first person to discover Victoria Falls is a white man. David Livingstone, he's the one who discovered Victoria Falls. But the people of Batonga, they used to name that place Mosi Oatunya, the smoke that thunders. That's the original name of Victoria Falls. But today, everybody will say, we call it Victoria Falls. And we say that David Livingstone discovered that. And we still praise the name of the Queen Victoria. The same thing to the Lake Victoria. We call it Lake Victoria, but that lake, it had its original name the way before that guy came and discovered that. These are lies. Not only that, even the word Africa. Do you know who discovered the word Africa? Do you know who named our continent? It's a white man. It was not Africa. I told you that the Congo Kingdom was bigger kingdom all the way to Angola. Let me call Angola. All the way to Angola, and then they divided it. People, like right now, if you see African map, there is part of Angola is inside Congo. Do you know that? Not only that, they use another way to teach different language. So people in Angola, they started to learn how to speak what? Portuguese. And people from Congo, they started to learn how to speak Belgium. Why? They were united, they were strong, but they had to divide them by teaching them different language so that they may not appreciate their culture, they may not be grateful with who they are, they may not embrace their identity and learn another identity. They were not done, they didn't stop there. Oh, they took some of our people. They found some people who, like Africans who were like strong like me, handsome like me. They took them and they took them away of the continent. Skillful Africans. These days we call like brain drain, right? They took them away because they wanted to develop themselves. And today, when you look at African, everybody out there think that Africa, they have low IQ. Who is the founder of IQ anyways? Africans, they're poor. Africans, they need support. Africans cannot survive without us being there, because from the first place, we went there, we discovered them, we taught them, we helped them to develop. Today, we're even happy when you look at South Africa, the way it developed, and we are happy about that. That, hey, look at this. But you can see what is going on in South Africa there. The division that is in that country, our brothers and sisters, it's outrageous. So the lies begin all the way from the beginning to divide us, to change us, and to change our history. Today, Africans, we are struggling with identity. We're struggling with division. We look at each other differently because of our tribes, because of our color, because of our nationality, because of our languages. And we're still struggling with that. We don't think we're one people. We don't think we're one family because of someone else who had its own interest to divide and to conquer Africa. And it's still happening today. We ask ourselves every single day, why Africa is poor? Africa is poor because We don't have our identity anymore because somebody else named our identity. And the big person to blame there is us Africans, who allowed that to happen back then and who are still allowing it to happen even today. I was asking myself, if we know how much unity means to Africa, we know that unity is power. You cannot know the meaning of power, and you cannot know the true meaning of power if you don't have unity. If you don't have unity, you don't have power. Africans, we don't know the meaning of power because we don't have unity. I'm telling you guys, power is not in the military. It's not in that. It's not about that. It's about the unity. And we'll never get to know the meaning of power if we're not united. And leaders and everybody in Africa knows that the only thing that can change Africa is unity and oneness. But we don't pursue it. But we are not ready to do it. Why is that? Because we have been comfortable for so long, living divided, losing our identity, and we are not ready to put on the work to find our true identity from the beginning, the true history of Africa even before colonization. Know who we really are as Africans. This is what I say all the time, that Africa is a big family with 55 different children. These 55 different children, they don't have same behaviors. They don't have the same, they don't look alike. Sometimes they don't even speak the same language. It depends where they grew up. But we are family. Why 55? Because 54, they're countries inside Africa, and that one country is diaspora. Africans all around the world, and they're our family. Because Africa is not just a place, but Africa is people. Me and you, we are Africa. The world is telling you this, that there's developing country, there's developed country. That's what they say. I never seen Africans say that. Who said that? White man. He said that. Oh, you guys, Africa, you are a developing country. Oh, us, we are a developed country. Let me ask you a question. Developed country means you got yourself figured out. But why all the time, constantly, you're looking forward and you try to exploit Africa to develop yourself? If you're developed, you don't need to develop yourself. You're a developed country. You got yourself figured out. And we are the ones that are developing. And yet, you exploit us. The truth is, we are all developing country, guys. The reason why there's this lie, so that you may look down on yourself. You may look down on yourself and believe that you need help, you need support, you need loans, you need aids, and you always beg to that because you want to develop. You are still not developed. What is the true meaning of developing? What is the meaning of that? And today, the system of this world was never created for Africans, and yet we still try to develop according to the Western standard. That development is having tall buildings, like long buildings and all this stuff. It's not about that. What about community? What about where people live? What about food? What about infrastructure? Do we really need tall and long building while our people are dying in Africa because of hunger? Why don't we invest that money into food? Why don't we empower our farmers so that they can produce more and Africa will never struggle with food? Today we have to ask for food from outside to come to, like the World Food Organization, they have to support Africa for that. It's shame on Africa and shame on us. Africa is a continent that can sustain itself without depending anyone, without relying on anyone for 100, even 1,000 years, because Africa is the only continent that has everything, like name it, everything we have it in Africa. Is the richest continent in the world. We cannot be free until we're in charge and we are in control of our own narratives, of our own medias, of our own economy. The reason why we're still poor because our economy is controlled by the Westerners. You can never be free if your economy is controlled. The reason why the media never talks positivity about Africa, because it's not African media. They have their own agenda. Just like I told you, all these lies about Africa, they have their own agenda. They will never talk positivity about Africa. We want to transform and change Africa, and we cannot change Africa if we do not change. Yes, we're talking about the biggest problem we have in Africa is unemployment, but I want you to change that word problem to opportunity. For me, I don't see anything as a problem. It's an opportunity. Unemployment is an opportunity for you to discover, for you to do something to create jobs in Africa. Because in the age today, it's not about sitting and waiting for government to employ you, but you stepping outside, see the problem. One of my friends once said, you have to fall in love with the problem, because once you fall in love with the problem, you do research, you search about it, and you try to do something about it. And eventually you bring that change that Africa needs. If I want to change anything surrounding me, then I have to change from inside out. and I'll be able to bring that change that Africa needs. And youth, we're the leaders of today, we're leaders of tomorrow. We always hear that, and we have that in our hands. It's an opportunity for us to bring that change. Thank you so much.